Okay, welcome in everyone. Let's dive right into this masterclass on one of the most notoriously misunderstood areas of the Cambridge AS Level Afrikaans 8679 syllabus: education systems, curriculum, and their relationship with training. Now, if you're preparing to sit for this exam, you already know that this specific topic area can feel like an absolute minefield. You read the source text, you think you understand the education policy being discussed, but then you get your mock paper back and the examiner has just slashed red ink all over your paragraphs. Well, today we are acting as your elite curriculum architects. We're stepping into our digital testing suite to map out clear structural frameworks, decode the exact assessment objectives Cambridge uses, and apply specific high-yielding answering strategies. We're going to track exactly how to move your performance from those frustrating lower bands to a clean, undisputed A grade. So grab your notes, get settled, and let's get into it. So right off the bat, I want to ask exactly why candidates constantly drop marks here. I want to validate your anxiety for a second because setting up the why is going to show us exactly how we're going to fix it today. You see, when we look at the global data, we constantly see two distinct types of students who struggle here. Let's call our first student Alex. Now, Alex is a walking encyclopedia. Alex walks into the exam room armed with raw factual definitions and can quote every single textbook theory on curriculum design. But Alex overloads paragraphs with these raw facts, that's Assessment Objective 1 or AO1, and completely fails to provide the deep conceptual analysis or evaluation that the examiners are actually hunting for. It's just an information dump. Then, on the other end of the spectrum, we have Sam. Sam is a fast writer, a natural debater, and constructs highly persuasive, sweeping arguments about the education system. But here's the catch. Sam completely misses the explicit restrictions set by the command words in the prompt. Sam will explain when the question clearly asks to evaluate. This disconnect between what you know and how you strategically structure your response to match the marking grid is exactly what causes grades to slip. Today, we're fixing both Alex's and Sam's mistakes. Here is the exact syllabus playbook we will use today. Number 1, the examiner's warning. 2, core theoretical principles. 3, technical exam methodology. 4, critical examiner traps. And finally, 5, the evaluation strategy. Let's get things off with Section 1, the examiner's warning. We are going straight to the source, looking at the hard truths directly from the principal examiner reports. And this quote right here, this brilliantly illustrates our first major alert. Candidates consistently confuse key terminology, always define terms before using them in extended responses. Listen to me, this is not a polite suggestion from Cambridge. It is a fundamental rule of exam compliance. Confusing terminology triggers an immediate penalty on the examiner's grid. For instance, in the Afrikaans 8679 syllabus, if you use the term for curriculum structure when you actually mean pedagogical training, the examiner stops reading for higher-level analysis. Why? Because if they can't trust your basic terminology, they literally cannot award you marks for complex evaluation. When you are writing an extended response about education systems, you absolutely must establish your foundational definitions, your AO1, before you attempt to build a complex argument. Think of it like building a house. You cannot put on the roof if the foundation is made of sand. Always define your exact terms in your opening sentence. Moving right along to Section 2, core theoretical principles. Let's decode what Cambridge actually demands from your answers when they scale up the marking bands. Okay, this definition is absolutely vital, so let's really unpack it. Cambridge prioritizes analytical depth over superficial breadth. What does that mean in plain English? It means a medium-tier candidate, like our friend Alex, will just memorize textbook data about vocational training and dump it onto the page. But a top-performing candidate builds a flexible, analytical thesis. They understand the core concepts of education systems so deeply that when Cambridge throws a completely unfamiliar case study at them, say a brand new policy document in the source text, they don't panic. They can seamlessly transfer their theoretical knowledge and apply it to that specific, novel scenario. This is where you have to look at the command words. If the question says analyze, you need to break the system down into its component parts and show how they interact. If the question says evaluate or to what extent, and you just explain how the system works, the examiner's mark yield meter on your paper instantly drops. Misinterpreting a command word caps your score, regardless of how beautiful your Afrikaans grammar is. So, how do we build that flexible understanding? The crucial point is integrating precise definitions, causal relationships, and cross-topic connections. This is the secret formula to scoring significantly higher marks. Let's go back to our students Alex and Sam, sitting in a study room trying to write a response about a shift toward decentralized curriculums. Alex types out, decentralization means schools choose their own subjects. This happened in 2005. That's it, just raw data. Sam looks at it and says, no, we have to argue. It means the government is failing, which hurts the students. Sam is jumping to massive conclusions with no causal link. If I step in as their coach, I'd say, hold on, we need logical, structured reasoning. A top-tier response would synthesize both. It would read something like, the implementation of decentralized curriculums, meaning local schools control subject offerings, directly causes a shift in vocational training outcomes because regional industries can dictate the specific skills taught. Do you see the difference? We defined the term, we established a clear cause and effect, and we tied it to a cross-topic connection, linking education to the regional economy. That is exactly what examiners are hunting for. Now, let's transition to Section 3, Technical Exam Methodology, and unlock what we call the method mark strategy. Okay, strategy check. Before we decode this perfect 6-step approach to help you crush your upcoming sessions, make sure your revision feed is perfectly optimized. Take a second right now to subscribe to Ace the Exams at the handle @AceTheExams, and make sure you enable all notifications so you never miss our weekly Cambridge exam breakdowns, no matter if you are sitting for IGCSE, O-levels, or AS and A-levels. Got it? Awesome. Now let's look at this 6-step framework for interpreting data. Imagine Alex and Sam hit a roadblock mid-paragraph. Their evidence isn't linking back to their thesis. We need a system. Step 1, deconstruct the question. Decode that command word. Step 2, extract relevant data from the source text. Don't invent facts. Step 3, select an analytical framework. I always recommend the PL matrix, point, evidence, explain, link. You make your point, you drop your evidence from the text, you explain how the evidence proves your point, and you link it right back to the command word in the question. Step 4, execute with clear notation. Step 5, verify your logic, actually read it back to yourself. And Step 6, present with that precise terminology we hammered home earlier. If you follow this matrix, you guarantee yourself method marks because the examiner can see the architecture of your thinking, even if your final conclusion isn't 100% perfect. Let's move into Section 4, Critical Examiner Traps. We are exposing the top 3 mistakes where even the fastest writers drop valuable marks under pressure. Now, this is a visual spot the trap workshop. I want you to look at the clear contrast here between a flawed, low-band approach and the highly specific, contextualized approach that examiners actually reward. We are going to do a 60-second visual data scan challenge right now. Imagine I put a complex text case study on the board about a new national testing system. The clock is ticking down, 59, 58. You need to extract the core trend. A low-band candidate writes, tests make students stressed and the system is hard. That is vague, generalized, and earns 0 marks. It might be true in the real world, but it proves absolutely nothing about your reading comprehension. The A-grade candidate scans the text and writes, as seen in paragraph 2, the introduction of standardized national testing increased administrative workload by 20%, which directly detracted from localized teacher training programs. Boom. Specific details applied directly to the provided context. Your evidence must clearly, undeniably link back to the exact scenario on your desk. Let's do another challenge, spot the examiner trap. I'm going to read you a sample student paragraph, and I want you to mentally highlight where the logic falls apart. Here it is. The curriculum was updated to include more technology. This is good because everyone uses computers now. Therefore, the education system is successful. Did you catch the trap? Let me get my digital highlighter out. The phrase, this is good because everyone uses computers now, is the trap. The principal examiners explicitly warn against this. The argument is far too vague and completely relies on outside assumptions rather than the given text. Furthermore, it's not specific to the context. If your paragraph could literally be copy-pasted into any essay about technology without changing a single word, it is not specific enough to score an A grade. Finally, students routinely forgot to check their presentation. If the question asks for a report format and you write a casual essay, you are throwing away easy marks on formatting rules. Entering our final academic section, Section 5, the evaluation strategy. This is how we push from basic analysis all the way up to high-tier evaluation. So, what does it actually take to hit those top-tier marks? Higher-order assessment objectives demand that you demonstrate evaluative thinking. You cannot just describe an education system, you have to evaluate its effectiveness. How do you do that? First, you question the underlying assumptions of the policy provided in the text. If the text assumes that digital learning improves test scores, you must question if that holds true for underfunded rural schools. Second, you consider different perspectives. You have to look at the issue from the viewpoint of the government administrators, but then contrast it with the perspective of the teachers or the students going through the training. It shows a multidimensional understanding. And most critically, and I cannot stress this enough, every single decision, recommendation, or conclusion you make must be justified with solid extractable evidence from the stimulus materials. No evidence, no evaluation marks. If you use this 5-step deconstruct, solve, evaluate framework, you guarantee your analytical thesis links back perfectly to the command word restrictions. Let's look at how Alex and Sam finally nailed this. Instead of fighting over facts versus opinions, they collaborated. They identified the given information first. They broke their argument down into logical steps using that Peel matrix. They solved the core questions systematically, linking the curriculum changes directly to training outcomes. Then, they did a quick mental check for reasonableness. They asked themselves, does this actually make sense based only on the text provided? And finally, they landed the plane with a highly justified recommendation, stating exactly why one system was more effective than the other based on the data. They engineered a flawless, top-tier response block. All right, let's bring it all together. Section 6, the Blueprint Recap. This is your ultimate screenshot-worthy revision checklist. I want you to literally screenshot this slide right now. Keep it on your phone. This is your universal Cambridge compliance audit. If you consistently execute these 4 rules, you will successfully navigate the examiner traps and maximize your marks per minute. Treat this as your post-writing checklist. Imagine you are sitting in the exam hall, the pressure is on, and you just finished a massive extended response. Before you turn the page to the next question, you run this audit. Rule 1, the 3-step question scan. Did you decode the command word and define your terms? Rule 2, the marks per minute formula. Did you follow the structured data extraction method without wasting time on irrelevant facts? Rule 3, are your details anchored entirely to the provided context? And Rule 4, is your final evaluative recommendation backed by bulletproof evidence? If the answer is yes to all of these, you have successfully engineered an A-grade response. We've covered a massive amount of strategic ground today for the AS-level Afrikaans education system syllabus. But remember, this methodology applies across the board for all extended response subjects. Before you head back to your revision feed, take a second right now to subscribe to @AceTheExams. Clip that notification bell so you never miss our weekly grade masterclasses, whether you are sitting for IGCSE, O-levels, AS, or A-levels. And I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below telling me exactly which Cambridge subject and level you are preparing to conquer next. But before you close this explainer, I want to leave you with one final thought. Ask yourself, if you walked into that exam hall tomorrow morning, would your current writing strategy guarantee you an A-star, or are you just hoping for a passing grade? It's time to take control of your structure. I will see you in the next explainer. Keep studying smart.